right, ladies and gentlemen, these are the people that are currently doing the Lord's work. Please help me welcome to the stage our panel, the exec producer of DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Phil Clemmer, ladies and gentlemen.
Good day, sir.
The exec producer of Arrow, Wendy, Mericle, ladies and gentlemen. The exec producer of Arrow and DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Give it up for Marc Guggenheim, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, this man taught me to run, and he let me go to space twice with Supergirl. I love this guy more than my own child. Give it up for Andrew Kreisberg, ladies and gentlemen. I work for this cat, man. He's a good guy. Give it up for exec producer of The Flash, Todd Helbing, ladies and gentlemen. This guy's related to that good guy, and he's also a good guy. Another exec producer on The Flash because they only hire siblings, Aaron Helbing, ladies and gentlemen. This man makes me cry almost every week, man. He brings the Martian Manhunter to life. Most of the time without makeup. You know how amazing that performance has to be? That's amazing performance, man. Give it up for David Harewood, ladies and gentlemen. The captain of the good ship West Allen, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Iris West from The Flash, Candace Patton. I worked with this guy once in a very different capacity in a movie that had the word porno in the title. But now he's Ray Palmer in DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Give it up for Brandon Rao. Ladies and gentlemen, the very sturdy, strong, muscular spine that the entire Berlanti DC universe has been built upon. Give it up for your Oliver Queen, man, Stephen Amell. I've been working nearly 25 years. I never worked with anyone more talented, sweeter, somebody who gives me hope in humanity, ladies and gentlemen. That helps because she plays Supergirl herself. Give it up for Melissa Benoist. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the first guy I ever got to put in a suit and say, do something heroic, man. My hero, Grant Gustin. Give it up for a man who I met very briefly when I was not. Seemed like a great guy, and I can't wait to work with him one day because he seems funny, but they make him do a lot of serious shit on that show, man. John Diggle himself. Give it up for David Ramsey. She has played many roles, living and dead, on one show, ladies and gentlemen. And currently she's in charge of the Wave Rider in our hearts. Give it up for Katie Lotz. All right, kids, let's start with, I'm going to jump back here real quick. We're going to roam around, make it easy. You cats right here particularly, you were here for the beginning of this long journey that become 4 shows, maybe 5, and hopefully one day there's one show for every day of the week. because then I don't have to face reality. You guys were there for the beginning, and you just celebrated 100 episodes of Arrow. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead.
What's funny is I remember being here at the first Paley Fest and one of the questions being, will there ever be superpowers on Arrow? And me looking out and in all sincerity and honesty saying, no, we were never going to have superpowers on any of these shows. And now it's, we lied.
Not intentionally.
Not intentionally.
Take us through the origin of that, because without that, we don't get to all of this. When it began, was there any thought whatsoever that it could expand like this? Was it like, man, in our wildest dreams? Was it a part of the plan, or was it like, let's just see how this one goes?
I never knew it was part of the plan. I remember working on, the first season of Arrow was very difficult in terms of us writing it and just trying to figure out how we were going to pull off this show week in and week out. And I remember being with Greg on a Saturday. Greg Berlanti, by the way, unfortunately couldn't be here because he's working on something else today, out of town, but he says hi. And we were trying to figure out this episode of Arrow that was particularly tough, and he goes, you know what we should do? I'm like, okay. He's like, next year we should introduce Barry Allen on episode 8 and 9, and then have him get struck by lightning, and then have him wake up in his own show. And I looked at him and I'm like, we can't even make this show. You want to make that show, which sounds a lot harder than this one. And he never he would just bring it up, and that's literally exactly what we did.
Marc and Wendy, take us through current Arrow world. As you knew you were hitting episode 100, did you know it was going to be during the crossover as well?
We did, actually, and we're sitting with Greg and we were talking about the crossover / the 100th episode, and we were saying, God, we're kind of screwed because we have the middle chapter of this 3-part crossover, and it happens to be the 100th episode, and why weren't we smart enough to not do that? And and it's like, there's no way we can satisfy both. There's no way we can, it's like, it's a 7-10 split. Like, there's no way to do it. And we're talking about it, and Greg, of course, goes, okay, here's what we're going to do. And leave it to Greg. He comes up with the perfect way to not only advance the trilogy story of the crossover, but also honor the 100th episode. That was totally his brainchild, and I'm not objective, but I think it worked.
Yeah, what can I possibly add to that? It was, I think, when Greg came up with that idea, we again got very excited. We knew we had that exact same challenge, and we'd been talking about it in the writer's room for a while. And when he came up with the idea of having Oliver basically, have this version of a life that he could have maybe experienced had he not gotten on the Gambit, we were all very excited about that. It was something we had talked about in the first season. We'd always talked about, what would Oliver's life, where could he have gone, what could he have done, what would his life have been like with his family, especially his parents still intact. And it was a great emotional episode in the middle of all this kind of alien invasion craziness. So it was, we kind of got the best of both worlds.
It felt like, I know you'll get this, I don't know how many people will, it felt like the 20th anniversary issue of Fantastic Four, Terror in a Tiny Town. It was like, that's what I said to Greg, and Greg's like, yeah, but it felt more like an anniversary or a milestone issue of a comic book as opposed to a milestone episode of a television show. And I think that's why we all got excited, because it's like, oh, we're celebrating the 100th episode of Arrow by basically writing the 100th issue of Arrow the comic.
Let's ask you, I wanted to ask you real quick. On that show, wrong David, I want to talk to you.
You kidding me?
On that show, they make you be so serious, but then whenever you cross over, you get the funny lines.
I'm still trying to get over you thinking David was David. It's all good. Should I go with it? Yeah, I won't go with it.
Just be thankful it wasn't Candace.
Well, all right. Every time I get to go to Flash,
I get to have so much fun, right? John Diggle gets to be, John Diggle was kind of funny in the first season because I got all these one-liners, and every time Oliver says something, I would say, don't. No, Oliver. Stop, Oliver. Of course, Oliver would do the same thing. So there was some levity there, but I think actually when Felicity came to really just kind of change and kind of really lighten the show up. But every time I go to Flash, John Diggle gets to be light, and it's actually a lighter atmosphere over at Flash. You're always teasing because there's bright light.
Yeah.
I think there's a gel on every light. There's like a brighter gel. Everyone's smiling. Everyone's happy. It's true. Candace is like, "Hey, Dave, what's up?" Our show is always like, and we're literally separated by a wall. So, I mean, we just go on the... Look, by the way, they have cans of soda on their show. We don't. No, I'm serious. Andrew, this is the truth. Like, Steven, I mean, you can go... We don't get Coke or Mountain Dew or Pepsi. Flash does.
We can get...
This is the truth.
You know what?
This is the truth.
You know what? Once we start pulling a 0.9 or a 1, you got carbonated there.
And I thought I said the wrong thing.
I'm not the leader of the show, so it's not on my shoulders.
What an appropriate time to move to the lead of the show. Steven, I've never done 100 anything in my life. Give it up for Steven, ladies and gentlemen. I've never done 100 anything in my life shy of maybe masturbation. What is it like? What is it like to complete? What is it like to carry something that long? Try to take that image out of your head.
I didn't know how I would feel during the 100th episode, but there was a much bigger sense of accomplishment than I thought there would be. The first scene that I got to shoot on it was you and I walking out in the garden. It was this beautiful day, and our director had set it up as this big wonder. And I just remember thinking, wow, we actually did it. And I started to go over the members of the crew that were there on the pilot, because so many of them were there for the 100th episode. And I started to think about all of the crew and the cast that were there in the early days that are now in much more senior positions or bigger roles or leading roles, on different shows. And it really struck me. It was really easy to play the emotional moments of that episode because so many of them were true. That scene where I get to say goodbye to my parents, not a lot of prep went into that one. That just came really naturally. So I'm very, very proud in this day and age to make it to 100 episodes. And, I feel like the path to 200 will be easier.